So very good evening, all the participants. In the last two sessions, we have already covered OPC, the concept of foreign company, compromise arrangement and amalgamation, and some other matters. Now, today is the third lecture on Companies Act. So today we'll be covering the balance portion, basically prospectus, share capital, deposits, charges, bonus shares, etc., etc. Right? So Sudhakar Vardhanapuji will be taking up the session. Sudhakarji, it's all yours now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you,
please.
sir. So after completing, today we'll take about capital and finance, which is chapter 3 to 6, prospectus, share capital, deposits and charges. And like sir always says, there are a couple of questions which will come from this section also, which is from Companies Act 2013, 23 to sections 23 to 87. Yeah. So salient features. So there are chapters 3 to 6 here. So the chapter 3, section 23 to 42. So a public company raises money from the public only through a prospectus. If there is no prospectus, they cannot raise the money. With distinct rules for shelf, red herring, and private placement routes, and strict liability for misstatements. Chapter 4, containing of sections 43 to 72, it contains the mechanics of share capital. What are the kinds of shares? Further issue, buyback, which is capped at 25% with a 2:1 post-buyback debt equity limit and debentures. So chapter 5, section 73 to 76A consists of public deposits, which are tightly restricted. What are the eligible companies? A mandatory 20% deposit repayment reserve and a deposit insurance security overlay. Chapter 6, section 77 to 87. Every charge on company assets must be registered within 30 days extendable and its satisfaction reported, or the charge is void against the liquidator creditors. Chapter 3, public offer, private placement and the prospectus. Okay. I'm sorry, sir. Sir, one sec, sir. दिख रहे sir? Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yes, it's visible.
I'm sorry, there was some call. I think I need to put it in. Just one sec. Huh? Oh, no, this is not the one, huh?
No. ये नहीं.
ठीक है, sir.
This we have already covered.
Yes, sir. This also. So I'll open it again, sir. Yeah. So I think.
Yes, now it's okay.
आ गया, sir?
आ गया.
Yeah. Okay. So, public offer, private placement, and the prospectus. Section 23 speaks of that securities may be offered to the public only via prospectus or privately via Section 42 private placement route. The two are mutually exclusive routes, which is even though somebody may buy in public also, and they may also buy shares via the private placement route also. So they're mutually exclusive. No, they cannot buy. It is different, totally different. Sir? Section 26. Prospectus must state prescribed matters. The company's financial position, objects of the issue, risk factors, and promoter director details, and be filed with the registrar before issue. The golden rule. New Brunswick and Canada Railway Company versus Muggeridge. The prospectus must present the whole truth and nothing but the truth about the company. Yeah, okay. Types of prospectus. Shelf, the type and the key features. Shelf prospectus under Section 31, which is a prospectus which covers multiple issues over a period. A fresh information memorandum is filed before each subsequent offer. A red herring prospectus under section 32. It is filed at least 3 days before the subscription opens, omits final price, the quantum, and used in book-built issues. An abridged prospectus, a summarized version that must accompany every application form, void section 33, as it indicates it is an abridged, it's an abridged one. And deemed prospectus under section 25, a document offering securities for sale issued by or for the company is deemed a prospectus. So, liability for misstatements. Section 34 speaks of criminal liability, knowingly including an untrue, misleading statement in a prospectus attracts action under section 447 under fraud. Section 35(6) speaks of civil liability. Every person who authorized the prospectus issue, whether it is the director, promoter, or named expert, is liable to compensate a subscriber's loss from a misstatement subject to statutory defenses. Example, reasonable ground to believe it was true. We have also seen the golden rule. So, truth must be presented, nothing but the truth. So, section 36, fraudulently inducing a person to invest money is a separate additional offense under section 447. So, section 42, private placement. Offer restricted to a maximum of 200 persons in a financial year, excluding QIBs and employees under a stock option scheme. Qualified institutional buyers per kind of security. Application money must be received through a separate bank account and cannot be utilized until allotment or refunded within the prescribed period. Allotment must be completed within 60 days of receiving the application money. A fresh offer cannot be made until the earlier one is completed, withdrawn, or abandoned. Now, a red herring prospectus must be filed with the registrar before the subscription list opens by at least how many days?
3 days.
3 days, right. Under section 42, private placement in a financial year is capped per kind of security at how many persons, excluding QIBs, ESOP, employees?
200. 200.
200, yes. So, kinds of share capital and further issue. Section 43. Share capital of a company limited by shares is of two kinds. One is equity share capital with or without differential voting rights and preferred share capital. Section 62, a further issue must first be offered to existing shareholders, rights issue, or to employees under an ESOP before any preferential allotment to outsiders. Each route has its own conditions. Section 71 speaks of debentures that may be issued with an option to convert into shares subject to a special resolution. Secured debentures require creation of a charge and generally a debenture trust deed and debenture redemption reserve. This is about buyback, section 68, the conditions at a glance. The condition for approval, the limit is the board resolution if less than or equal to 10% of paid up equity plus free reserves. Special resolution beyond that up to 25%. The annual ceiling is 25% of aggregate paid up capital and free reserves, 25% of paid up equity capital specifically for an equity only buyback. Post buyback debt equity ratio, not more than 2:1, higher ratio only if separately notified for a class of companies. The timing, complete within 1 year of the authorizing resolution, at least 1 year gap before the next buyback offer. Funding source, only free reserves, securities premium, or proceeds of an earlier issue of a different kind of security, never borrowed funds. Here, a company's buyback of equity shares in a financial year cannot exceed what proportion of its paid up equity capital? What is the percentage?
10%.
10%, right. The maximum permissible debt equity ratio immediately after the buyback as a rule, as a general rule is 2:1.
2:1.
Right. So, section 73 to 76 restrictions on deposits. General rule. No company may invite, accept, or renew deposits from the public, except as permitted under Section 73(2) from members or 76 eligible public companies with network greater than or equal to 100 crores or turnover greater than or equal to 500 crores. Conditions for accepting member deposits include a circular in Form DPT-1 filed with the ROC 30 days in advance, a deposit trust deed, Form DPT-2, and depositor insurance where secure deposits are offered. So a deposit repayment reserve of not less than 20% of deposits maturing during the year and the following year must be maintained in a separate scheduled bank account by 30th April of each year. So deposit compliance, a quick checklist. The requirement, the circular, the details are Form DPT-1 filed with ROC at least 30 days before issue with auditor certificate. Deposit repayment reserve greater than or equal to 20% of deposits maturing in the current plus next financial year in a separate scheduled bank account. Annual return. Form DPT-3 covering deposits and amounts not treated as deposits. Overdue interest. 18% per annum penal rate for the overdue period on unpaid matured deposits. Yeah. The deposit repayment reserve under Section 73 must be maintained at not less than what proportion of deposits maturing in the current and following financial year?
20%.
20%, right. So Section 77 to 87, registration of charges. Section 77, every charge on the company's property, assets, undertaking must be registered with the ROC in Form CHG1 within 30 days of creation. Delay is curable. A further 30 days with additional fee, then a further 60 days with ad valorem fee. Charges created on after 2nd November 2018 that miss the 60-day window cannot be registered with the ROC at all. The company must seek NCLT condemnation under Section 87. An unregistered charge is void against the liquidator and other creditors, though the underlying debt itself survives. So here, it must be registered within 30 days, further 30 days with additional fee, and again further 60 days with ad valorem fee, charges created. Yeah. Satisfaction and the register of charges. Section 82. On full repayment satisfaction, the company or the charge holder must intimate the ROC in Form CHG4 ordinarily within 30 days, extendable up to 300 days with additional fee. Beyond 300 days, an application for condonation of delay lies to the central government regional director in Form CHG8. Section 85. Every company must keep a register of charges, Form CHG7, at its register office, preserved permanently with supporting instrument, kept for 8 years from the date of satisfaction. Yeah. So a charge must ordinarily be registered with the ROC, Form CHG1 within how many days of its creation?
30 days.
Yes. Then the register of charges, Form CHG7 must be preserved
For 8 years
8 years from satisfaction.
from satisfaction.
Right. So this is a case study, raising capital, 3 decisions in one board meeting. Meridian Textiles Limited, unlisted public, which is an unlisted public company, wants to raise rupees 15 crore from the public via fixed deposits, buy back 20% of its paid up equity capital using free reserves, and 3, create a charge on its factory premises to secure a 8 crore rupees term loan from a bank, all within the same quarter. Okay. So one is raising 15 crores from public, buy back 20% of paid up equity capital, and create a charge on its factory premises to secure 8 crore loan. Okay. All within the same quarter. Okay. Can Meridian accept public deposits under Section 76 given it is unlisted? No, only NBFCs can accept public deposits. Yes, without any condition, since it's a public company. No, only listed companies may raise public. Yes, it meets the prescribed net worth turnover threshold and passes a special resolution. So, which one is this?
C,
B. Yeah, without any conditions, it's a
C,
public
C,
company.
C, C.
C. Okay. Only listed. Oh, okay. Because this is an unlisted public company. Only
Yes.
listed companies may raise public deposits. Yes. Is the proposed 20% equity buyback within the section 68 limit? Yes, it is within the 20% ceiling on paid up equity capital. No, the limit is 10% for equity only buybacks. No, the buyback is capped at 15% for unlisted companies. It depends solely on the company's market capitalization.
A.
It is within 25% ceiling. Okay, 20 because it is proposed 20% equity buyback. Okay.
Hmm.
Within how many days of creating the charge on the factory premises must Meridian register it with the ROC? 30 days, na?
30 days.
Yeah. So part A, key takeaways. Public fundraising runs through Chapter 3 prospectus regime or Section 42's tightly capped private placement. There is no third route. Either it is the prospectus regime or the private placement route. Public fundraising. So buyback Section 68 is a self-help capital reduction tool bounded by the 25% ceiling and 2:1 debt equity test. Anything beyond needs a full Section 66 capital reduction scheme via the tribunal instead. Deposits are the most tightly regulated funding source. Eligible companies only with the DRR and insurance safeguards, that is debt reserve ratio, safeguards, purpose-built to protect small depositors. Charges Chapter 6 are a pure filing discipline. 30 days is the role. 300 days is the outer administrative limit, and NCLT condemnation is the last resort beyond that. So now we go to management, administration, and accounts. Yeah, the salient features at a glance. The minutes under Section 118 and postal ballot Section 110 are the two channels through which a company's decision become an evidentiary record, distinct from board general meetings themselves. Key managerial personnel, KMP, Section 203, become mandatory once a company crosses defined capital thresholds. Governance scales up with size. Chapter 9 accounts goes well beyond books of account already covered. Financial statements, NFRA oversight, the board's report, CSR, and internal audit are all part of the same chapter. So minutes of meetings, the evidentiary backbone. Minutes of every general meeting, board, committee meeting, and every postal ballot resolution must be prepared and signed within 30 days of the meeting resolution in books with consecutively numbered pages. A distinct minute book is maintained for each type of meeting. Postal ballot resolutions are recorded in the general meeting minute book. Section 118(8). Once properly kept, minutes are presumptive evidence that the meeting was duly called and held and that all appointments, directors, KMP, auditors recorded in them are valid unless the contrary is proved. It is also an evidence of the agenda being discussed and also for application of the agenda decisions taken. The postal ballot, voting without a physical meeting. Certain items are transacted only by postal ballot, which includes e-voting rather than at a physical general meeting as prescribed by the rules. Requires an advertisement in one vernacular and one English newspaper announcing dispatch of ballot papers and a specified last date for receiving votes. A postal ballot resolution, once passed, is deemed to have been passed at a general meeting convened for that purpose. This is under Section 110 of Companies Act 2013. So Section 179 and 2003, the board's powers and mandatory KMP. Section 179. Certain powers can be exercised only at a duly conveyed board meeting, not by circular resolution. Example, borrowing, investing company funds, granting loans, guarantees, approving financial statements. Section 203. Every listed company and every other company with paid up share capital of rupees 10 crore or more must appoint a whole-time CEO, managing director, manager, a whole-time company secretary, and a CFO.
अर्जुन तूने जाना है जा वो चाबी फिर
Rule,
कहीं लो हम
Rule
सारे बात
8A extends the whole-time company secretary requirement to private companies with paid-up capital of rupees 5 crore or more below the Section 203 threshold. Minutes of a general meeting must be prepared and signed within how many days of the meeting conclusion? 30 days?
30 days.
Yeah. Under Section 203, a whole-time company secretary becomes mandatory once a company's paid-up share capital reaches 5 crores.
Yeah, 5 crore.
Section 129, financial statements. Financial statements must give a true and fair view of the company's state of affairs, comply with the accounting standards prescribed under Section 133, and be in the form of Schedule 3. Yeah, a company with one or more subsidiaries must additionally prepare consolidated financial statements in the same form and manner as its own standalone statements. Section 130 and 131. Accounts may be reopened only on a tribunal court order, fraud, mismanagement, a voluntary revision of an already adopted board's report, or financial statement needs tribunal approval too within limited circumstances. Yeah. Section 132, 134, and 138 NFRA, board's report, and internal audit. Section 132, the NFRA, National Financial Reporting Authority, oversees accounting auditing standards and has disciplinary jurisdiction over auditors of specified classes of companies, listed and certain large unlisted public interest entities. Section 134. The board's report must be attached to the financial statements covering the state of the company's affairs, director's responsibility statement, related party transactions, and where applicable, CSR and secretarial audit particulars. Section 138. Internal audit is mandatory for listed companies and other classes of companies crossing prescribed turnover, borrowing, deposit thresholds, conducted by a chartered accountant, cost accountant, or another professional the board decides. So CSR applicability and spend, the trigger, the net worth, the threshold is greater than 500 crores. The turnover must be greater than or equal to 1,000 crores. The net profit must be greater than or equal to 5 crores. The mandatory spend is greater than or equal to 2% of average net profit, Section 198 computation of the preceding 3 financial years on Schedule 7 activities. Unspent amount transferred to a specified fund or an ongoing project account within the prescribed timelines or penalty applies. A company triggers CSR applicability under Section 135 if in the preceding financial year its net profit is at least 5 crores. The mandatory CSR spend is calculated as 2% of average net profits over the preceding 3 financial years.
Yes, preceding 3 financial year.
Yeah. At least B तो चले गया अभी. आंसर वाला पुराना वाला में B था ना पूरा. Crossing the governance thresholds. This is a case study. Kavya Industries Limited increases its paid up share capital to rupees 12 crores this year. And its net profit for the preceding financial year came in at rupees 6 crores with the net worth and turnover still well below the CSR thresholds. The CFO wants to know what new governance obligations, if any, have now kicked in. So, has Kavya now crossed the threshold for mandatory whole-time KMP under Section 203? Only if it's a public company, regardless of capital. No, Section 203 applies only to listed companies. Yes, rupees 10 crore paid up capital is the trigger under Section 203. No, the threshold is rupees 50 crore paid up capital. So, yeah. Cross the threshold for so and so for KMP. KMP कैसा रखना चाहिए? Shall I go back?
Yeah.
ये वाला है ना?
Yes.
Current. यहाँ नहीं है. ये. No.
Section 203,
Sir.
it says every listed company and every other public company having a paid up share capital of 10 crore rupees or more shall have a whole time KMP. It is given in rules, appointment and remuneration of managerial personnel rules.
Right, sir.
So,
Right, sir. So,
it is every listed company and every other public company. And paid up capital is 10 crore or more.
right, sir. Under
Right.
section 203.
Right.
C will be the answer then.
Read with
Right.
rules. And
Right,
now
sir.
appointment of company secretaries in companies, it is covered under Rule 8. It says every private company which has a paid up share capital of 10 crore rupees or more shall have a whole-time company secretary.
Right, sir. So, does the 6 crore net profit alone trigger mandatory CSR under section 135? CSR is voluntary regardless of no. No net profit must be at least 10 crores. No. No CSR needs net worth and turnover thresholds together. Yes, any of them of the three triggers, net worth, turnover, net profit is sufficient and to basically exclude the 5 crores. D is the answer, sir. Any of three triggers, net worth, turnover, network is sufficient and 6 crore exceeds the 5 crore profit threshold. Guys, what do you say?
Shruti Pandey ji,
You just
regarding
Deepak,
the
Deep
CSR
pictures.
threshold.
तो CSR threshold सब 5 करोड़ की प्रॉफिट है, 50 करोड़ का हमारा वो कैपिटल
Turnover.
नहीं 100,000 करोड़ का टर्नओवर है एंड 500 करोड़ की नेटवर्थ है.
Correct. So it is any of these three triggers, है ना, is sufficient.
Yes, any of the
And
yes,
6 crore exceeds the 5 crore profit
Right.
threshold. D is the answer.
Hmm.
Next. Part B, key takeaways. Minutes and postal ballots are the paper trail that makes board general meeting decisions legally provable. Section 118's evidentiary presumption is the reason this matters. KMP and internal audit obligations scale with size, paid up capital, turnover, borrowings. Always check the current threshold before answering an applicability question. Chapter 9 is bigger than books of account alone. Financial statements, NFRA, the board's report, CSR, and internal audit are all part of the same accounting oversight architecture. So, valuers, exit, tribunals, and miscellaneous. Yeah. So, the salient features, registered valuers under Chapter 17 are the professionals whose reports underpin mergers, buybacks, and minority buyouts across the Act. IBBI has regulated this space since 2017. Strike off. Chapter 18 is the administrative exit route, fast but reversible for up to 20 years in the right circumstances. Chapter 27, 28 set up the entire adjudicatory architecture, NCLT to NCLAT to Supreme Court, plus special courts for offences that every other chapter in this deck ultimately roots through. Chapter 29, miscellaneous, houses the Act sharpest teeth, the fraud provision, section 447 that appears throughout company law. Section 247, registered valuers. Wherever the Act requires valuation of any property, stocks, shares, debentures, securities, goodwill, or business net worth, it must be done by a person registered as a valuer in the prescribed manner. The central government's powers under Section 247 stand delegated to IBBI, notification dated 23rd October 2017. IBBI regulates registered valuers organizations and individual entity valuers. A valuer's report must state the basis of valuation, and any incorrect, misleading valuation attracts a penalty under Section 247(3). Section 248 to 250, removal of names or strike off. The ROC may strike off a company's name, suo motu, on grounds including failure to commence business within a year of incorporation or not carrying on business for 2 immediately preceding financial years without applying for dormant status. Section 249. A
Now
company
in
under investigation.
valuation,
Sir.
normally, Sudhakar ji, on
Yes, sir.
valuation, they will ask the penalty provisions.
Yes,
So what
sir.
are the penalty provisions?
Sir.
So these are given in section 448.
Right, sir.
So 448 एक बार देख लेंगे. Shruti Pandey ji, anything on this penalties on valuer?
Uh, then
469 भी देख लेते हैं एक बार.
एक मैं सर पेनल्टी जो है वो रूल में है और 247 सबसेक्शन 3 तो ये बोलता है if a valuer has acted with the intention to defraud the company, its member or its creditor, the punishment is more severe, involving imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year and a fine which shall not be less than 1 lakh rupees and which may be extend to rupees 5 lakh rupees. एंड मिस स्टेटमेंट के लिए सर वो 274 247(3) है, वो बोलता है पेनल्टी of rupees 25,000 which may extend up to rupees 1 lakh for each date during which the contravention continues.
नहीं ये चेंज हो गया ना ये. अभी ये हो गया 50,000 रुपीज.
ओके
हाँ.
Okay.
If a valuer, मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ section 247 subsection 3. If a valuer contravenes the provisions of this section or the rules made thereunder, the valuer shall be liable to a penalty of 50,000 rupees. पहले इससे पहले ये था 25,000 रुपीज वाला. अभी हो गया 50,000 रुपीज.
Okay.
Provided that
मैं हाँ
provided that if the valuer has contravened such provisions with the intention to defraud, he shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year and with fine which shall not be less than 1 lakh rupees but which may extend to 5 lakh rupees. So basically penalty क्या है? एक तो है 50,000 rupees as per section 247 subsection 3. ठीक है जी.
हाँ जी सर.
और अगर intention to fraud है तो intention to fraud में 1 lakh to 5 lakh rupees. और उसके अलावा
Imprisonment भी है सर. Imprisonment भी है सर.
हाँ
imprisonment है ना, which may extend to 1 year.
1 year हाँ.
Okay.
1 year तक का imprisonment है, लेकिन intention होनी चाहिए to fraud.
Right, sir.
And with fine which shall not be less than 1 lakh rupees but which may extend to 5 lakh rupees.
5 lakh rupees, yes sir.
अच्छा, उसके बाद में 247(4) बोलता है where a valuer has been convicted under subsection 3, he shall be liable to refund the remuneration received by him. जो उसको फीस मिला वो भी वापस करना पड़ेगा. And pay for damages to the company or to any other person for loss arising out of incorrect or misleading statement of the particulars made in this report. ये actually ये वाला पार्ट इंपॉर्टेंट है. दे समटाइम्स आस्क क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस. तो बेसिक बात क्या है? पेनल्टी लग सकती है एक तो 50,000 रुपीज तक, और अगर इंटेंशन टू फ्रॉड होगा तो इम्प्रिजनमेंट भी है अप टू 1 year एंड फाइन है 1 lakh to 5 lakh rupees. And he has to refund the remuneration also, and he has to pay for damages to the company or any other person for loss arising out. तो इतना तो अपने को याद जरूर रख लेना है ना?
Sir.
पेनल्टी वाला.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So, section 249, a company under investigation, prosecution, with pending compounding or with an ongoing scheme of compromise arrangement cannot apply for voluntary strike-off. Under section 250, on publication in the official gazette, the company stands dissolved. Liabilities of directors, officers survive, and any undistributed assets vest in the central government. Strike-off forms and restoration window. The item and detail. Voluntary application.
I think we can leave
is-
this portion. इसमें कोई फॉर्म नंबर पूछेगा नहीं normally. They don't ask.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
फॉर्म नंबर याद भी नहीं रहता किसी को इतना ज्यादा.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Yeah. So the central government powers of regulation under Section 247, registered valuers, have been delegated to IBBI. A company member, creditor, or workman may apply to the NCLT for restoration of a struck-off company name within
Within 20 years.
20 years of the Gazette notice of dissolution. So NCLT and NCLAT, the adjudicatory structure. Section 408 constitutes the NCLT. Section 410 constitutes the NCLAT as its appellate body. Both also exercise jurisdiction under the IBC and for NCLAT, the Competition Act. Section 420. The tribunal's orders are appealable. Section 421. Appeal to NCLAT lies within 45 days of the order being made available, with a further 45 days condonable for sufficient cause. 90 days is the outer non-extendable limit. Wide Bengal Chemists and Druggists Association versus Kalyan Chowdhury case. Section 423. A further appeal lies to the Supreme Court only on a question of law within 60 days of the NCLAT order. Section 432. A party may appear in person or be represented by a chartered accountant, company secretary, cost accountant, legal practitioner, or another authorized person. So an appeal from an NCLT order to NCLAT under Section 421 must ordinarily be filed within 45 days. A further appeal from an NCLAT order to the Supreme Court under Section 423 lies only on a question of law.
Question of law within 60 days to the Supreme.
Yes. So special courts, speedy trial of offences. Section 435. The central government may, by notification, establish special courts for speedy
Now in
trial of
NCLT
offences.
also,
Sir.
in NCLT also, Sudhakar ji, they
Yes,
will
sir.
ask questions on who can become a member of NCLT. So, Shruti Pandey ji, anything on this?
Sorry, sir.
NCLT, who can become a member of the NCLT? Who will be the chairman?
The
What is the age
retired.
criteria?
There must be a judge of the High Court, sir.
Yes, they
हाँ,
ask questions on this.
राइट
Yes,
सर ये सर पार्ट 4 में जो है हमारे सर उसमें दिया हुआ है जो आईपीसी का पार्ट 4 है रिटायर्ड सर आईएएस ऑफिसर्स होते हैं एमसीए के सर जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फिनांस मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सर 3 मिनिस्ट्री है उनमें से जो नॉमिनेटेड होते हैं उनमें से एक जो है वो चेयरपर्सन अपॉइंट होता है
No, वो तो आईबीबीआई पे पहुंच गए आप. एनसीएलटी की बात
अच्छा.
कर रहा हूँ मैं तो.
अच्छा हाँ
एनसीएलटी तो कंपनी लॉ में है ना, वो तो अलग
Right.
चीज है, वो अलग है.
तो एक बार से मुझे चेक करना पड़ेगा.
हाँ. काजल किरण जी, एनीथिंग ऑन दिस?
No, sir, it's correct, sir. That ex officio members are appointed. No. NCLT chairperson must be of High Court, sir. Yeah, definitely of High
हाँ,
Court.
तो एक बार देखो ना कहाँ पर है ये.
हाँ.
इस पे सवाल पूछता है वो.
Yes, sir.
कौन एनसीएलटी मेंबर बन सकता है?
हाँ सर जज ऑफ अ हाई कोर्ट फॉर एटलीस्ट 5 years.
हाँ. और एज लिमिट भी है इसमें.
Yes, sir.
65 years, sir.
65.
नहीं हाई कोर्ट जज वाला 62 होता है.
65 years.
Oh, really? Okay. So because I think after that, I think वहाँ 62 last है, but because they come here, I think they have extended to 65 probably.
हाँ सर 408 एंड 409 जो है कंपनीज एक्ट का सेक्शन वो कवर करता है. एक बार ये मैं खोल
Right.
तो एक बार ये सेक्शन देख लेते हैं.
हाँ जी सर.
Yes,
वो
sir.
पूछता है वो. ये देखिए यहां से पढ़ते हैं. सेक्शन 409, सेक्शन 409 क्या
409,
बोलता है? क्वालिफिकेशन ऑफ प्रेसिडेंट एंड मेंबर्स ऑफ ट्राइब्यूनल. द प्रेसिडेंट शैल बी ए पर्सन हु इज और हैज बीन ए जज ऑफ हाई कोर्ट फॉर 5 years. इसमें क्या करना, वो एज के ऊपर पूछ लेता है.
Okay. So up to the age of 65 years, na sir?
एक बार चेक कर लेते हैं.
हाँ सर, ये suppose the president shall be a person who is or has been a judge of a high court for 5 years. A
हाँ.
person shall not be qualified for appointment as a judicial member unless he is or has been a judge of a high court. He is or has been a district judge for at least 5 years, or has for at least 10 years been an advocate of a court for the purpose of clause C, that is 10 year of experience as an advocate in a court in computing the period during which
ये
a
देखिए
person
एज,
has
इसके
been
बाद ना पता वो क्या पूछेगा, वो 413 पे चला जाएगा.
Sir.
413 में कहता है, ए मेंबर ऑफ द ट्राइब्यूनल शैल होल्ड ऑफिस until he
हाँ,
attains, in the case of the president, the age of 67 years. So
67.
president NCLT का 67 है. In case of any other member, the age of 65 years.
Right, right,
ये सेक्शन 413 है. इस पर कैबिनेट
Right.
सवाल पूछता है.
right, sir.
तो इसमें क्या है कि
तो-
प्रेसिडेंट में 67 है और एनसीएलटी
sir.
मेंबर में 65
65 year.
Right, sir.
है ना.
Because High Court में 62 is the upper limit, sir. इसीलिए यहाँ हम उसके बाद आते हैं ना, sir.
हाँ
I think that is why they have given 65 and 67.
हाँ, ये हो गया आपका
Right.
प्रेसिडेंट और चेयरपर्सन का.
Right, sir. So special courts, PD trial of offences. Section 435. The central government may, by notification, establish special courts for speedy trial of offences under the Act. A special court consists of a single judge appointed with the concurrence of the Chief Justice of the relevant High Court. Section 436. Offences punishable with imprisonment of 3 years or more are tried as warrant cases. Lesser offences follow summary summons case procedure, keeping routine compliance defaults out of a heavy criminal trial process. So, special court under section 435 is constituted of a retired Supreme Court judge, a 3-judge bench, a NCLT, a single judge appointed. This one, a single judge appointed with the High Court Chief Justice concurrence.
435
Section
में
440 is
हाँ,
Yes, sir.
सिंगल जज holding office
yeah,
as section
appointed with
judge
the
or
concurrence
additional
of High
section
Court
judge
Chief Justice
in
concurrence.
case of offences punishable under this act with imprisonment of 2 years or more, or a metropolitan magistrate or judicial magistrate of the first class in the case of other offences.
Right, sir. Yeah, section 447, punishment for fraud. General rule, imprisonment of 6 months to 10 years plus a fine of not less than the amount involved in the fraud up to 3 times that amount. Where the fraud involves public interest, the minimum imprisonment rises to 3 years. Where the fraud involves less than rupees 10 lakh, that is 1% of the company's turnover, whichever is lower, and no public interest is involved, the punishment is lighter, up to 5 years imprisonment or a fine up to rupees 50 lakhs or both.
इसके ऊपर भी सवाल पूछता है कई बार वो,
Yes,
कि
sir.
फ्रॉड इन्वॉल्व्स पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट वगैरह, इसके ऊपर सवाल पूछ लेता है कई बार. तो वी मस्ट
Right.
रिमेम्बर, ये वाला स्लाइड हमें याद रखना चाहिए. कई बार
Yes,
सवाल
sir.
पूछता है इसके ऊपर.
Right, sir. Sir, इसको how do you define public interest, sir?
भाई पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट क्या है? बेसिकली क्या होता है, देयर आर कंपनीज इन विच पब्लिक इज सब्सटेंशियली इंटरेस्टेड, उसी को
जहाँ पे
पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट
public
कहते हैं.
का मनी लगा हुआ है,
हाँ
जैसे बैंक हो गया, एनबीएफसी, जहाँ एनबीएफसी तो नहीं होगी
हाँ
बिकॉज, बट जो डिपॉजिट टेकिंग एनबीएफसी है वो भी फॉल कर जाएगा.
हाँ.
जो
Yes, sir.
इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज होती हैं वो आ जाएंगी,
Yes.
आईआरडीआई रेगुलेटेड.
Right. Probably because of the activities of the company also could be in public interest.
तो wherever there is a chances कि जो पब्लिक है वो उनको कुछ भी डिस्कम्फर्ट हो तो वो पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट में आ जाता है.
Right, sir. I'll go to the next one. Section
एक बार
455.
इसको देख लेते हैं थोड़ा सा. ये जो
Yes,
है
sir.
रिगार्डिंग दिस पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट,
Yes,
वेयर इट इज डिफाइंड. कंपनीज एक्ट में तो डिफाइंड नहीं है मेरे हिसाब से.
नहीं सर, कंपनीज एक्ट में नहीं है.
कंपनीज एक्ट में डिफाइंड नहीं है ये.
हाँ.
तो एक बार देखिए कहाँ से इसकी डेफिनेशन लोगे आप.
So public interest as per Companies Act, na sir?
नहीं नहीं,
हाँ,
पब्लिक कंपनीज एक्ट में पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट एक्चुअली
कंपनीज
डिफाइन
एक्ट में
नहीं है।
डिफाइंड नहीं है ये।
हम्म।
बट जनरली ऐसा नहीं देख सकते हैं ना सर?
भाई बेसिकली जहाँ इसका इन्वॉल्वमेंट वही आगे जहाँ पब्लिक फंड्स इन्वॉल्व है,
हाँ
ये हाँ
या फिर लिस्टेड कंपनीज है, पब्लिक का शेयर
वही
होल्डिंग है।
हाँ, जहाँ पे पब्लिक शेयर होल्डिंग जहाँ पे है, जहाँ पे
हम्म,
पब्लिक का पैसा लगा हुआ है, जैसे
हाँ
बैंक हो
बिल्कुल।
गया, लिस्टेड कंपनीज हो
हाँ
गई,
हम्म,
इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज हो गई,
हम्म।
सो ये सारे जो हो जाते हैं पब्लिक, वहाँ पे पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट हैम्पर होने के चांसेस होते हैं।
तो एक बार इस पे थोड़ा सा रिसर्च कर सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं कि कहाँ डिफाइंड है ये
सर मैंने देखा ये
पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट विद रेफरेंस टू सेक्शन 447। ऐसा करके एक बार
हम्म।
टाइप करके देखिए क्या बोलता है।
हाँ ओके सर.
पब्लिक
So
इंटरेस्ट विद रेफरेंस टू सेक्शन 447 ऑफ द कंपनीज एक्ट।
okay.
सर मतलब नॉर्मल सर ये बोल रहे हैं रिगार्डिंग स्टैट्यूटरी डेफिनेशन, नो सिंगल एक्ट यूनिवर्सली डिफाइंस पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट बिकॉज द टर्म इज इंटेंशनली फ्लेक्सिबल एंड कॉन्टेक्स्ट डिपेंडेंट, however its
हम्म
meaning is shaped by various laws and judicial interpretation।
हम्म
राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन एक्ट 2005 में सर एग्जैक्टली डिफाइंड नहीं है, बट ये बोलता है कि टर्म इज नॉट डिफाइंड इन द टेक्स्ट ऑफ द एक्ट, कोर्ट्स एंड कमीशंस डिटरमिन इट केस बाय केस,
ओके
जनरली व्यूइंग इट
ओके,
एज द
तो
जनरल
इट इज
वेलफेयर ऑफ
सब्जेक्ट
द
टू
पब्लिक।
जुडिशियल डिटर्मिनेशन बेसिकली।
हाँ,
हाँ
सब वो वही है कि जनरल
Yes.
वेलफेयर ऑफ द
हाँ
पब्लिक वारंटिंग डिस्क्लोजर
हाँ।
सच एज अकाउंटेबिलिटी इन
बट
पब्लिक
दे
मनी
आस्क क्वेश्चंस कि भाई
टू।
अगर पब्लिक
हाँ.
इंटरेस्ट वाला है तो उसमें कितना पेनल्टी होगा, इतना हमें याद रखना है।
सर
हाँ
यूजुअली इसमें क्या करता है, केस स्टडीज में कुछ डाल देते हैं सर. They'll give some statements or something and then you have to identify from there. ऐसा होता है.
हम्म। चलिए नेक्स्ट।
ठीक है सर.
तो
So
वो वही है, वहां
punishment.
पे वो आपका इंटेलिजेंस चेक करेंगे कि मतलब आप कितना जज कर
हाँ
पा रहे
हाँ
हो केस को लेकर के।
Correct. Right. Next one. So section 455, dormant company status. A company formed for a future project or to hold an asset IP with no significant accounting transaction, or an inactive company may apply for dormant status, form MSC1 after a special resolution or 3/4 in value member consent. Conditions include no outstanding statutory dues, no pending investigation inspection, no unresolved management dispute, and securities not listed on any stock exchange. Dormant status can be held for a maximum of 5 consecutive years. A dormant company files a simplified annual return, Form MSC3, rather than the full compliance package and cannot apply for strike-off while dormant. Okay.
इसके अलावा आपको क्या करना है, कंपनीज मिसलेनियस रूल्स है 2014
Okay, sir.
फॉर अप्लाइंग फॉर दिस डोरमेंट स्टेटस। अच्छा, सपोज यू वांट टू अप्लाई फॉर द स्टेटस ऑफ ए डोरमेंट कंपनी, तो किस टाइप का रेजोल्यूशन आपको पास करना है? यू हैव टू
Dormant
पास ए
company,
स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन
स्पेशल
special
टू
मीटिंग।
जनरल
resolution.
मीटिंग ऑफ द
Special.
कंपनी, और
यस
आफ्टर
सर।
इशूइंग ए नोटिस टू ऑल द शेयर होल्डर्स ऑफ द कंपनी फॉर दिस पर्पज एंड ऑब्टेनिंग कंसेंट ऑफ एटलीस्ट 3/4 शेयर होल्डर्स इन वैल्यू।
In value. Right, sir.
ठीक है, तो
Right, sir.
आपको स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन पास करना है जनरल मीटिंग,
Yes, sir.
और आफ्टर इशूइंग ए नोटिस टू ऑल द शेयर होल्डर्स ऑफ द कंपनी फॉर दिस पर्पज एंड ऑब्टेनिंग कंसेंट ऑफ एटलीस्ट 3/4 शेयर होल्डर्स इन वैल्यू।
3/4 member in value.
बाकी ये वाला तो दे दिया, कोई इंस्पेक्शन नहीं होना चाहिए, इंक्वायरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन वगैरह नहीं होना चाहिए।
Ah,
अच्छा, मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स फॉर गवर्नमेंट कंपनी कितने होंगे? मिनिमम नंबर
सर
ऑफ
पब्लिक
3
लिमिटेड के
डायरेक्टर्स
लिए
इन केस ऑफ
3
ए
और
पब्लिक
प्राइवेट
कंपनी।
के लिए 2। हाँ,
हाँ, 2 डायरेक्टर्स इन केस ऑफ प्राइवेट कंपनी और 1 डायरेक्टर इन केस ऑफ 1 पर्सन
ओपीसी,
कंपनी।
राइट सर।
right, sir.
Provided that the provisions of the act in relation to the rotation of auditors shall not apply on dormant companies, ये भी है।
Okay. Right, sir. And I'll go to the next one, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Provided
So,
that the registrar shall initiate the process of striking of the name of the company if the company remains as a dormant company for a period of consecutive 5 years.
5 years. Right, sir.
Okay.
चलिए नेक्स्ट।
So, under section 447, where the fraud involves public interest, the minimum term of imprisonment is 1 year, sir.
नहीं, पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट में ज्यादा है ना।
हाँ,
पब्लिक
अच्छा,
इंटरेस्ट में
public
3
interest
इयर्स है
3
मिनिमम।
years.
चेक कर
3
लो एक बारी।
years.
3 इयर्स है।
Yes, sir.
अभी तो पढ़ा था, एक बार चेक कर लो। 3 इयर्स है मेरे हिसाब से तो।
Yes, sir.
हाँ, where the public interest, the minimum
हाँ,
imprisonment
मिनिमम
Yes.
3
rises to
इयर्स।
sir rises
3
to
years.
3 year की बात करता है।
हैं?
मिनिमम imprisonment rises to 3 year, हाँ मतलब 3 year ही है, इसी से स्टार्ट हो
हाँ,
रहा
3
है।
इयर्स। वो राइजेस इसीलिए बोल रहा है ना कि दूसरे में कम है, इसीलिए।
Come, yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
वहाँ 6 months to 10 years है, यहाँ 3 years मिनिमम।
yes, yes. So a company can hold dormant status under Section 455 for a maximum of 5 consecutive
5 years,
years.
5 consecutive years, yes.
Section 450. Okay. So case studies struck off and fighting back. Brahmaputra Logistics Private Limited was struck off by the ROC in 2021 for not filing financial statements for 2 consecutive years. The directors say this happened because their accountant went missing during the pandemic and the company genuinely continued operating throughout. A creditor holding an unpaid invoice from 2020 wants the company restored so it can pursue recovery. Which forum can restore the company's name to the register? The Minister of Corporate Affairs, Executive Order, the NCLT on an application under Section 252, the Registrar of Companies on a simple written request. No restoration is possible after strike off. This one,
NCLT।
NCLT on an application under Section 252. Within what time limit can the creditor apply for restoration counting from the Gazette notice of dissolution? 20 years, na sir?
20 years, yes।
Once restored, what governance valuation professionals report is typically needed if the company later wants to raise capital via a share issue? No professional report is ever required, only a bank certificate. A registered valuer's report under Section 247, sir. C, sir.
क्यों श्रुति पांडे जी, एक बार चेक कर लीजिए।
हाँ जी सर।
सर इसमें 4 ऑप्शंस में प्रोफेशनल रिपोर्ट इज एवर रिक्वायर्ड तो गलत है सर। ओनली अ बैंक सर्टिफिकेट भी गलत है सर। ओनली एन एडवोकेट्स ओपिनियन आल्सो गलत है सर, बिकॉज दे आर सेइंग ओनली।
तो सी होगा सर, क्योंकि सर अगर हमें मतलब सिर्फ क्वेश्चन के कंटेक्स्ट में देखा जाए तो अगर सीए सिर्फ शेयर कैपिटल रेज करने की बात कर रहा है तो उसमें रजिस्टर वैल्यूअर रिपोर्ट तो चाहिए ही होगा। सिर्फ एडवोकेट के ओपिनियन से भी काम नहीं चलेगा, बैंक का सर्टिफिकेट से भी काम नहीं होगा। और
एक
ये
बार
भी
नो,
चेक कर लो।
इट इज सेइंग ओनली। सी,
हाँ ओनली, यस, तो सर
ओनली
सी
मतलब
होगा।
ओनली तो अगर नहीं काम चलेगा
हाँ
सर।
क्योंकि सर और भी बहुत सारी चीजें कंप्लायंसेस जो करनी पड़ेंगी, तो सर सी है कि मतलब ये तो एक चाहिए ही बाकी सारे प्रोसेस में से।
Because in the question it is asking typically needed. They are
हाँ
not asking what is needed. They are asking typically needed, sir. यह कितना कितना फोकस करना पड़ रहा है, देखो सर वर्ड्स का ऊपर।
सर ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस तो उसमें भी आते हैं हमारे एग्जाम्स में भी।
ओके, वो कंपनी सेक्रेटरी है ना जी आप?
हाँ जी सर।
राइट 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 राइट। सो आई विल गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन।
हम्म
So key takeaways. Registered values, IBBA regulated since 2017, are the common thread running through buybacks, mergers, minority buyouts, and strike-off restorations alike. Strike-off is fast and administrative, but not final. The 20-year restoration window for a company, member, creditor, workman is unusually generous compared to most exit routes. NCLT, Supreme Court. From NCLT to NCLAT to Supreme Court is a strict, largely non-condonable timeline. 45 plus 45 days, then 60 days on a question of law only. Miss it and the order stands. Section 447 speaks of fraud and Section 445 speaks of dormant company. Sit in the miscellaneous chapter, but the two of the most frequently tested provisions in the entire Act. So the LLP Act 2008 core framework.
इसके ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता है,
Yes,
पर्टिकुलरली
sir.
ऑन ऑडिट। ऑडिट के ऊपर पूछता है इसमें, ऑडिट का
Right,
क्या
sir.
लिमिट है, ऑडिट कब करवाना है।
Yes, sir.
और इसमें ये भी पूछ लेता है वेदर HUF कैन बिकम ए मेंबर ऑफ LLP।
Hmm.
तो थोड़ा सा इसको देख लेते हैं।
Right, sir.
नॉर्मली
So
दे
this,
आस्क क्वेश्चंस।
yes, sir. So the salient features of the LLP is an LLP is a body corporate with perpetual succession. Legally, it behaves far more like a company than like a traditional partnership firm. Liability runs through the LLP itself, not through co-partners. Section 26, partner as agent of the LLP, not of other partners, is the single most important sentence in the Act. Compliance scales with size, just as under the Companies Act. Audit only above rupees 40 lakh turnover, rupees 25 lakh contribution, and a lighter small LLP track exists since the 2021 amendment. Winding up of an LLP mirrors the company law playbook, voluntary, solvent, and tribunal-driven compulsory routes, plus a strike-off equivalent for defunct LLPs. So an LLP is a body corporate. Section 3. An LLP is a body corporate formed and incorporated under the Act, a legal entity separate from its partners with perpetual succession. Any change in partners does not affect the LLP's existence, rights, or liabilities, unlike a traditional partnership firm which can dissolve on a partner's exit. It can enter into contracts and hold property in its own name. The Indian Partnership Act 1932 does not apply to an LLP except as the LLP Act itself provides. Who can be a partner and the designated partner requirement? Section 5 to 7. Section 5. Any individual or body corporate may be a partner except an individual of unsound mind, an undischarged insolvent, or a person who has applied to be adjudicated insolvent and the application is pending. So
Now
section
here
6,
they
every
will ask you a question whether an
Sir.
HUF can be a partner. What is the answer? Whether an HUF can be a partner of LLP. What will be the answer?
No,
Yes, sir.
sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
No, the answer will be no.
No, हाँ, no.
सर एनी इंडिविजुअल बोल रहे हैं ना सर यहाँ
इंडिविजुअल HUF इंडिविजुअल थोड़े।
हाँ, so HUF have
okay,
to be
okay.
on
HUF
behalf of
पर्सन में कवर्ड
कर्ता,
होता है, इंडिविजुअल में कवर नहीं होगा।
नहीं होता, राइट सर, ओके.
Whether a partnership firm can be a partner in LLP?
No, sir.
No. Right.
No.
No. Very good.
Section 6. Every LLP must have at least 2 partners. If the number falls below 2 for more than 6 months, the sole remaining partner becomes personally liable for obligations incurred during that period. Section 7. At least 2 designated partners who are individuals, at least one of whom is resident in India, stayed greater than or equal to 120 days in the financial year, where all partners are bodies corporate, their nominees must fill this role.
इसमें से एक क्वेश्चन पूछ लेगा आपसे इसी स्लाइड में से।
Sir.
या तो HUF का पूछ लेगा, या पार्टनरशिप फर्म का पूछ लेगा, या फिर पूछ लेगा कि वन ऑफ द पार्टनर्स हैज डाइड, है ना?
Okay.
तो विद इन हाउ मच पीरियड द अदर पार्टनर हैज टू इन्फॉर्म। या फिर फॉरेन उस पे डायरेक्टर्स पे, फॉरेन पार्टनर्स पे पूछ लेगा कि वेदर
Right, sir.
ए फॉरेन सिटीजन कैन बी ए पार्टनर इन एन LLP।
Yes.
No, foreign citizen मतलब non-resident Indian है ना सर?
हाँ.
हाँ.
They
Not
can be,
foreign citizen, non-resident Indian.
नहीं, foreign citizen also can become a
फॉरेन
partner
सिटीजन भी
in
हो
LLP.
जाएगा, एक
Right.
चाहिए रेजिडेंट इन इंडिया बस,
हाँ,
दो में
one
से।
resident, हाँ,
बाकी
one
उसका
has,
रिप्रेजेंटेटिव आ जाएगा ना दूसरे का।
Right, sir. Right.
एक ऑडिट पे पूछता है, ऑडिट का पहले ही हमने देख लिया, 40 लाख टर्नओवर या 25 लाख कंट्रीब्यूशन।
25 lakh, हाँ, yes sir. So ये
Right,
मेरे
right,
साथ,
sir.
मेरे से पूछा था सर मेरे।
हाँ, ये नॉर्मली पूछता है सवाल ये।
हाँ.
Yes, sir. Audit only about 40 lakhs turnover, 20 lakhs contribution,
हाँ,
and a
इतना
lighter
तो कम
small
से कम
LLP.
याद रखना है आपको।
Right, sir. Right, sir. Right. Section
ये हो गया.
this is over. Yeah, designated partners, duties and vacancy. Section 8. Designated partners are responsible for all compliance under the Act, filings, return statements, and liable for penalties for the LLP's contraventions. Section 9. A vacancy must be filled within 30 days. If no designated partner is appointed or only one remains, every partner is deemed a designated partner. Every designated partner must hold a DIN obtained by a Form Philip at incorporation or Form DIR 3 for an existing LLP.
इसमें he will ask a question, how many designated partners are required minimum?
So 2.
Two.
ये पूछ सकता है, कई बार पूछता है वो सवाल है.
Right, sir. Sir, if no designated partner is appointed or only one remains, every partner is deemed a designated partner. अच्छा, अगर designated partner नहीं है तो the partner will be deemed as a designated partner.
Yes,
है ना
sir.
sir? Okay. Right. If the number of partners in an LLP falls below 2 for more than 6 months,
एक बार ये
what
कई
is
बार ये भी पूछ लेता है कि what is the constitutional document of LLP?
right, sir?
क्योंकि उसका आईबीसी में भी रेफरेंस आता है, तो LLP एग्रीमेंट.
LLP
LLP
agreement.
agreement, yes, sir.
So LLP falls below 2 for more than 6 months. If the number of partners in an LLP falls below 2 for more than 6 months, what is the consequence for the sole remaining partner?
The LLP is automatically dissolved.
नहीं बी आएगा, the
The
sole
sole
partner becomes
partner
personally
becomes
Sole
liable.
partner
personally
becomes
liable for
personally
obligations
liable for
incurred during
obligations
that
incurred during
period.
that period.
हाँ,
Yes.
B will be the answer.
Right. A vacancy in the office of designated partner must be filled within 30 days, sir.
एक बार चेक कर लो.
ये वाला है ना सर?
So 30 days.
30 days है ना? Yeah.
Section 7(4) of the LLP Act.
Right. Oh, section 9 लिखा ना यहाँ? Yeah, okay, fine. So, section 26 to 30, extent of liability, the LLP's core promise. Section 26. Every partner is, for LLP business, an agent of the LLP, but not an agent of the other partners. Section 27. An obligation of the LLP, contractual or otherwise, is solely the LLP's own obligation, met out of the LLP's property. A partner is not personally liable merely by reason of being a partner. Section 29, holding out, and Section 30, fraud. A person representing themselves as a partner is liable as one, and liability becomes unlimited for the LLP and the concerned partners where the LLP's business was carried on with intent to defraud creditors. LLP versus partnership firm versus company at a glance. The legal status for a partnership firm, it's not a separate legal entity. A LLP is a separate legal entity, it's a body corporate. A company is a separate legal entity and a body corporate. The partner member liability for a partnership firm is unlimited, joint, and several. The partner member liability for an LLP is limited to agreed contributions subject to Section 30 fraud exception. And for a company, it is limited to unpaid share value. The perpetual succession for a partnership is not affected by partner changes. And for an LLP, yes. And for also company, yes. The minimum members for a partnership will be 2 partners. For an LLP is 2 partners. For a company, 1 OPC, 2 private or 7 public. Contribution, accounts and audit. Section 32. Section 32 to 35. A partner's contribution may be tangible, movable, intangible property or other benefits, including money, promissory notes, or services rendered. Section 34. Every LLP maintains proper books of account and prepares a statement of account and solvency, Form 8. Audit is mandatory only if turnover exceeds rupees 40 lakhs and our contribution exceeds 25 lakh. Section 35. Annual return, Form 11. is filed within 60 days of the financial year's close, disclosing partner and contribution details, mandatory even for a nil activity LLP. Yeah. Audit of an LLP account becomes mandatory once its turnover exceeds or its partner contribution exceeds 40/25. A is the answer. The LLP annual return form 11 must be filed within how many days of the financial year's close? 60 days. C. The small LLP, a later compliance track. The LLP Amendment Act 2021 introduced small LLPs and LLP with a contribution of up to 25 lakh extendable to 5 crore and turnover up to 40 lakh extendable up to 50 crore. Small LLPs, here extendable देखना पड़ता ना sir. I think we have to remember that. 40 lakh वाला 25 lakh वाला. So small LLPs, because 40 वाला to 4 crore, 50
एक्ट
crores.
में इनेबल कर दिया ना, अभी तो
Sir?
25 लाख तक है, बट गवर्नमेंट में एक्सटेंड बाय वे ऑफ नोटिफिकेशन, ये
Right,
मतलब
sir.
है।
Okay.
तो
Okay.
इसका
Okay.
डेफिनेशन भी तो स्मॉल कंपनी का हो गया ना, हमारे लिए 25 लाख और 40 लाख
हाँ
वाला है अभी, बट
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
इन जनरल सर वो एक्सटेंड हो गया है।
हाँ हाँ
Right. Right. So like you said, it can be extended only through an act of parliament, है ना sir?
नो बाय वे ऑफ नोटिफिकेशन ओनली।
नोटिफिकेशन,
Notification. Okay. Okay. Because parliament में act हो चुका है.
हाँ पार्लियामेंट में तो 5 करोड़ से अगर और बढ़ाना हुआ तब चाहिए।
Right, sir.
5
Right.
करोड़ तक एक्ट में अमेंडमेंट की जरूरत नहीं।
Right, sir. Small LLPs attract lower fees and reduced penalties for defaults, mirroring the small company concept under the Companies Act, a deliberate parallel between the two statutes. The same 2021 amendment also decriminalized a number of routine defaults, converting them into civil penalties rather than criminal offences. Investigation of an LLP's affairs. The central government may investigate an LLP's affairs by appointing one or more competent inspectors on the LLP's own application, on order of the tribunal, or where circumstances suggest fraud, oppression, or misconduct. Inspectors have powers to require production of books, documents, and to examine partners' employees on oath. This mirrors the Companies Act's own investigation machinery. Section 210 etc. Applied to the LLP form. Winding up and strike off of an LLP. Section 63 to 65 and 75. Section 63, winding up may be voluntary. The LLP itself resolves backed by a declaration of solvency, Form 24, or by the tribunal compulsory on specified grounds. Section 64, the tribunal appoints an LLP liquidator to realize assets, settle liabilities, and distribute any surplus to partners. Section 65 provides for the LLP's ultimate dissolution. Section 75, a defunct LLP not carrying on business may be struck off by the registrar. The LLPs act parallel to strike off under Section 248 of the Companies Act. A voluntary winding up of a solvent LLP is initiated by filing a declaration of solvency in Form 24. Which provision of the LLP Act is the direct parallel to strike off under Section 248 of the Companies Act? 75. Section 75.
नॉर्मली दे वांट आस्क सेक्शन नंबर पूछता नहीं।
Right, sir. So, case study, the understaffed consulting LLP. Trivandi Consulting LLP has two partners, both individuals living abroad for most of the year. Its turnover this year came to rupees 55 lakh and partner contribution stands at rupees 18 lakh. The partners want to know whether they need a resident designated partner, whether an audit is required, and what happens if one partner wants to exit, leaving only one behind. Does Trivandi need at least one India resident designated partner? Only if the LLP's turnover exceeds 1 crore, no residency requirements only apply to companies. Yes, Section 7 requires at least one of the two designated partners to be a resident in India. Only if the LLP has more than 5 partners.
टी होगा सर।
C है ना? Yeah.
हाँ, C will be answer. Yes.
Yeah. So, is the audit mandatory for Trivandri this year? It's not required, na sir. ये उनका contribution stands at 18 lakh, वो तो कम है ना, 40-25 में कम है ना.
तो टर्नओवर तो हो गया ना,
लेकिन टर्नओवर
55.
तो बढ़ गया है, हाँ, तो
टर्नओवर
बी
तो हो
होगा
गया ना,
आंसर।
तो ऑडिट तो कराना पड़ेगा.
Okay. Turnover 55 lakh हो गया.
हाँ, 40 के ऊपर तो कराना
So
है ना.
yes, because the turnover, because turnover exceeds 50 lakh.
50 लाख।
Right. If one partner exits and only one remains, what is the legal consequences of this continues if this continues beyond 6 months? The sole remaining partner becomes personally liable for obligations incurred during that period. The LLP is automatically stuck up, nothing, and LLP will lawfully just have one concern. A is the answer, sir.
हाँ, ये will be
The
the
sole
answer. Yes.
remaining partner
सर, लेकिन ये
becomes.
बियॉन्ड 6 मंथ्स की बात कर रहा है, तो बियॉन्ड 6 मंथ में ये नहीं हुआ कि एलएलपी इज ऑटोमेटिकली स्ट्रक ऑफ,
नहीं
क्योंकि
नहीं,
विद इन 6 मंथ में तो सर जो रिमेनिंग पार्टनर है दैट विल बी लाइबल फॉर द एक्ट व्हिच हैज बीन डन। ये बोल रहा है कि व्हाट इज द लीगल कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस इफ दिस कंटिन्यूज बियॉन्ड 6 मंथ्स। तो सर 6
ऑटोमेटिक
महीने
डिसोल्यूशन तो होता नहीं ना, ऑटोमेटिक डिसोल्यूशन नहीं होगा भाई. 6 मंथ्स के अंदर तो वो इन्फॉर्म कर सकता है ना. 6 मंथ्स तो उसको पीरियड दिया गया है. 6
तो लेकिन
जैसे
अगर
मान
उसके
लीजिए डेथ
बाद
हो गई, तो ऐसा तो नहीं ना अगले दिन इन्फॉर्म कर देगा. अप टू 6 मंथ्स इज अलाउड.
That's one thing, and can it be automatically struck off? That's another point, na?
नहीं, ऑटोमेटिकली तो स्ट्राइक अप नहीं होगा ना.
Yes, sir. Yeah, A is the answer.
एक
Sole
बार
remaining
एक बार
partner.
एग्जैक्ट सेक्शन पढ़ लीजिए, सेक्शन का रेफरेंस देख लीजिए.
Right, sir.
थोड़ा बैक में जाइए.
ये है ना सर?
नहीं, और पीछे जाइए.
Yes, sir.
और बैक जाइए. और जाइए बैक.
ये वाला सर. Section 6. Every LLP must have at least 2 partners. If the number falls below 2 for more than 6 months,
तो
the sole
सेक्शन 6
remaining
पढ़
partner
लीजिए.
becomes.
एलएलपी एक्ट होगा आपके पास. सेक्शन 6 पढ़ लीजिए एक बारी.
यहाँ है ना सर? अभी स्क्रीन पर दिख रहा है ना सर अभी?
हाँ, नहीं नहीं
Every
नहीं,
LLP.
एक्ट देख लीजिए. मैं कह रहा हूँ बेयर एक्ट देख लीजिए.
अच्छा.
बेयर एक्ट में सेक्शन 6 में क्या रेफरेंस है वो देख लीजिए.
ओके.
1 मिनट लगेगा.
हाँ, यस सर. Sir, minimum number of partners. Every limited liability partnership shall have at least 2 partners. If at any time the number of partners of a limited liability partnership is reduced below 2 and the limited liability partnership carries on business for more than 6 months, while the number is so reduced, the person who is the only partner of the limited liability partnership during the time that it so carries on business after those 6 months and has the knowledge of the fact that it is carrying on business with him alone shall be liable personally for the obligations of the limited liability partnership incurred during that period.
बस ठीक है. तो मोर देन 6 मंथ लिखा है क्लियरली. हाँ जी,
राइट।
Yes, sir.
हाँ जी,
Yes,
ठीक
sir.
है.
Yes, sir.
ओके. नहीं, कोई भी कंफ्यूजन हो तो बेयर एक्ट बेस्ट है ना. बेयर एक्ट से ही पता चलता है.
Correct, sir.
हाँ जी, चलिए. ये हो गया. वी कैन स्किप दिस. इसमें कोई खास बात नहीं. और देखिए, ये पूरा इसका इन्होंने दे दिया. और
Yeah, cheat sheet भी I think we can
हाँ
skip this also, no, sir?
हाँ, कोई ये तो अपने आप पढ़
Ah,
लेंगे.
yes.
कोई बात
So how these chapters fit together?
नहीं. ये भी हो गया, छोड़ दीजिए इसको.
Right, sir. Reference from the line. Yeah.
ये आंसर की दे दिया. श्रुति पांडे जी,
हाँ जी
नाउ
सर।
आप भी थोड़ा 10 मिनट में और आप समराइज कर दीजिए पूरा कंपनी एक्ट एलएलपी को. पर्टिकुलरली रिगार्डिंग दिस प्रोस्पेक्टस, प्रोस्पेक्टस पे थोड़ा सा इस पे अभी कम डिस्कशन हुआ। जैसे रेड हेरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस है क्या होता है, शेल प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या होता है, प्रोस्पेक्टस पे थोड़ा सा गाइड कर दीजिए।
हाँ सर, आई एम गोइंग टू इट सर। मैडम आप नहीं
हाँ
लेना चाहिए, आई विल जस्ट गो देयर,
Okay.
because why again, why should you go back, because I'm already there ना।
हाँ हाँ, प्रोस्पेक्टस पे देख लीजिए।
यस सर, ये वाला है ना सर?
हाँ,
या
नहीं इसका जरूरत
या
भी नहीं, वैसे मैडम वैसे समझा दें।
फिर भी
हाँ, और नहीं
फिर भी
जनरल,
सर।
इन जनरल बता दीजिए रेड हेरिंग
या
प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या होता है ना, शेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या होता है, कई बार पूछता है वो सवाल इस पे।
हाँ यस।
इससे नेक्स्ट स्लाइड चलिए। हाँ,
टाइप्स ऑफ
हाँ
प्रॉस्पेक्टस।
यहाँ से बता दीजिए।
So the first one is self prospectus, which is done by section 31. So one prospectus covers multiple issues over a period. A fresh information memorandum is filed before each subsequent offer.
हम्म, नहीं यहाँ से नहीं पढ़ना, आपको थोड़ा सा
हाँ,
और डिटेल में बताना है इसको। ये
okay.
तो
So
लिखा ही हुआ है इसमें। तो
Shall I
सेक्शन
try to?
31 देखें, एक बार बुक से देख लेते हैं।
hmm.
सेक्शन 31 क्या बोलता है?
सर शेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस वो होता है कि कंपनी को एक साल में बार बार मतलब बार बार प्रोस्पेक्टस ना फाइल करना पड़े, तो वो
हाँ,
एक ही बार फाइल करती है प्रोस्पेक्टस, और उसको इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम, जब उसको नया प्रोस्पेक्टस चाहिए तो इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम के साथ में वो फाइल कर देती है सेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस। ये होता है सर, विद इन 1 ईयर कंप्लीट।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
बार बार ना फाइल करना पड़े, इसलिए वो सेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस किया जाता है फाइल।
हाँ,
और रेड हियरिंग
और
प्रोस्पेक्टस में
बाद में,
सर,
बाद जैसे मान लो आपने इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम फाइल कर दिया, बाद में अगर
यस
इन्हें ऑफर करना है तो फिर क्या फाइल करना पड़ेगा आपको? मेमोरेंडम और शेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस। और मान लीजिए कोई चेंज हो गया, मेमोरेंडम होता क्या है बेसिकली, चेंजेस के बारे में
ठीक
होता
सर।
है। मेमोरेंडम होता क्या है, मेमोरेंडम में क्या होता है कि जो भी मटेरियल चेंजेस हो गई, जैसे मान लीजिए आपने
इन लिeu ऑफ प्रोस्पेक्टस।
आपने मई में एक इशू ले आया, मई के बाद में अगस्त में आपने फिर लाना है, मई और अगस्त के बीच में कुछ चेंजेस हो गई, तो वो चेंजेस कहाँ आएंगी, इसी मेमोरेंडम में आएंगी, इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम। तो दिस इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम shall contain all material facts relating to new charges created, changes in the financial position of the company as have occurred between the first offer of securities or the previous offer of securities and the succeeding offer of securities। ये आपका लिखा हुआ है सेक्शन 31 सब सेक्शन 2 में। रेड हेरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या होता है, सेक्शन 32 क्या होता है ये, इसमें पूछता है सवाल वो। हाँ
राइट सर।
पांडे जी, रेड
हाँ
हेरिंग
जी
प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या होता है?
सर, रेड हियरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस वो होता है जो फाइनल प्रोस्पेक्टस कंपनी जो है वो सेबी में फाइल करती है बिफोर 3 days फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ द इशू ऑफ द ऑफर।
मतलब ये होता है प्रोस्पेक्टस इशू करने से पहले।
पहले। हम्म।
It shall file it with the registrar at least 3 days prior to the opening of the subscription।
हाँ, राइट सर। दिस इज
सर
द
व्हाई इज इट कॉल्ड रेड हेरिंग सर?
रेड हेरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस में क्या होता है बेसिकली ना, कंप्लीट पर्टिकुलर्स नहीं रहता। इट डज नॉट
अच्छा,
इंक्लूड कंप्लीट पर्टिकुलर्स और प्राइस ऑफ द सिक्योरिटीज इंक्लूडेड देयर। एक तो प्राइस
राइट।
भी नहीं रहता इसमें और कंप्लीट पर्टिकुलर्स नहीं रहता बेसिकली।
सिक्योरिटीज इन बॉडी ऑफ।
हाँ, जैसे अब मान लीजिए क्या होता है, आपने पे उसमें न्यूज पे उसमें टीवी में भी ऐड देखी होगी, टीवी में भी बहुत सारे आईपीओ
सर,
आते हैं ना, तो उनकी वो
यस
प्रोस्पेक्टस
सर,
नहीं दिखाते, वो रेड हेरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस आता है।
यस सर।
आपको याद होगा पहले जमाने में क्या होता था कि शेयर शेयर के फॉर्म बिकते थे रोड पर, देखा है वो जमाना आपने? नहीं,
यस सर, यस सर।
उसमें क्या होता था, पूरा प्रोस्पेक्टस नहीं होता था, वो रेड हेरिंग प्रोस्पेक्टस ही होता था उसके साथ में।
ओके ओके।
कंप्लीट प्रोस्पेक्टस नहीं दे सकते ना इतना फॉर्म के साथ में, तो ब्रीफ पर्टिकुलर्स
राइट
दे
सर।
देते हैं बेसिकली।
अच्छा
तो
सर, आजकल तो
दो इसकी क्वालिटीज है, इट डज नॉट इंक्लूड कंप्लीट पर्टिकुलर्स और प्राइस भी नहीं रहता इसमें, प्राइस ऑफ द सिक्योरिटीज। यही रेड प्रोस्पेक्टस का मीनिंग है।
Right, sir.
और क्रिमिनल लायबिलिटी क्या है इसमें?
अच्छा, अगर फाइल नहीं होता था सर?
कोई भी, मतलब मिस स्टेटमेंट हो गया, कुछ हो गया।
Sir, 6 months to 10 years imprisonment
हम्म,
and fine is 3 times the amount involved in the fraud.
हम्म। ये 447 में मिल जाएगी आपको पेनल्टीज इसकी। और डीम्ड प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या होता है? एवरेज प्रोस्पेक्टस क्या है?
Sir, abridged मतलब हो गया कि these are the prospectus which are used instead of the full prospectus. Abridged
हाँ
prospectus.
हाँ, समराइज्ड वर्जन हो गया इसमें। और
Summarized
डीम्ड
version हो
प्रोस्पेक्टस
गया.
क्या है?
Sir,
Sir?
deemed का मतलब
डीम्ड का मतलब वो
Sir, deemed.
उसको
सर
नाम
वही
नहीं दिया
अगर
गया
किसी भी
प्रोस्पेक्टस
तरीके
का।
का सर किसी
जिसमें
भी
सर अग्री
सर
कर
किसी
लेता
भी
है
तरीके
कि
का इश्यू हो जाएगा तो उसको डीमिंग
सेल
मान लेंगे,
करने
अगर
के लिए
प्रोस्पेक्टस के फॉर्म में होगा तो डीम्ड
हाँ,
प्रोस्पेक्टस
वो कह रहा है
मानेगा
कि
उसको.
भाई उसका नाम तो कुछ
अग्री कर
दिया
लेता
नहीं
है।
उन्होंने, लेकिन
हम्म,
उसमें बातें वही लिखी गई है, प्रोस्पेक्टस वाली ही इंफॉर्मेशन है, तो
हाँ
उसको हम डीम्ड प्रोस्पेक्टस कहेंगे।
right, sir. Sir, while issuing the shares, all these will be there, sir. All 4 will be there.
नो ओनली
ना ना ना
वन
ना, इनमें से एक ही होगा ना।
इनमें। हाँ,
Right. Okay.
तो जब कंपनी
जैसे
इनिशियली
शेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस है,
फाइल करेगी।
भाई आपको पता है कि बार बार शेयर इशू करने हैं आपने, तो एक शेल्फ प्रोस्पेक्टस कर दोगे और साथ में जब भी आपने नया इशू लाओगे इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम लगा दोगे
मेमोरेंडम
साथ।
आईएफ फाइल करो।
Okay. Okay.
चलिए, एनी अदर थिंग कंपनीज एक्ट में जो छूट गया है हमारे हिसाब से? हाँ जी। टर्नओवर की क्या डेफिनेशन है?
Sir?
टर्नओवर, चलो डेफिनेशन तो पूछेगा नहीं, खैर सेक्शन 3 तो हमारे कोर्स में है नहीं।
Okay.
अच्छा, मान लीजिए प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स का डिविडेंड नहीं मिला, ठीक है, तो क्या वो जो जनरल मीटिंग है उसमें आ सकते हैं? नॉर्मली क्या होता है, प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स आर अलाउड टू अटेंड मीटिंग्स ओनली आइदर विच दे डायरेक्टली अफेक्ट देयर इंटरेस्ट, या फिर वाइंडिंग अप वाली जो मीटिंग्स होती है उसमें आते हैं नॉर्मली, है ना। बट
Sir.
इसमें एक कंडीशन है कि अगर उनको आपने डिविडेंड नहीं दिया है तो फिर वो जनरल मीटिंग्स में भी आ सकते हैं। तो वो सेक्शन आपको बताना है, क्या सेक्शन है वो, एक बार पढ़ लीजिए वो।
सारे मीटिंग
कई बार वो
सारे
पूछ
मीटिंग्स
लेता है
में
इसके ऊपर सवाल। प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स के ऊपर
47(2) की बात करता है ये।
हाँ, 47 में प्रोवाइजो है। प्रोवाइजो कहता है
हाँ,
ये कि वेयर द डिविडेंड इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ ए क्लास ऑफ प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स हैज नॉट बीन पेड फॉर ए पीरियड ऑफ 2 years और मोर, such class of preference shareholders shall have a right to vote on all the resolutions placed before the company. तो ये पीरियड पूछ लेता है,
5 నిమిషాల్లో చేస్తాను.
2 years और
5 నిమిషాల్లో చేస్తాను. 5 నిమిషాల్లో చేస్తాను నీకు.
ये भी हो गया। बस आज के लिए काफी है, आई थिंक इट्स ओके, है ना।
Right, sir.
राइट सर।
ओके जी, गुड नाइट।
गुड
Right,
नाइट
sir.
सर।
Good night, sir.
Good
Good
night,
night,
everyone.
everybody. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Right.